Alright, so this is basically an example of inheritance. This is a basic class which is parent class. This has a constructor, a couple of instance variables, then an instance method which basically prints the instance variables. Alright, now how do we create a child class? So this part is basic class, then the class name, then after that we put a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we put the name of the parent class, which here is parent. Alright, now this child class will have a constructor of its own, right? So let's suppose it also possesses a constructor. Alright, let's suppose this also possesses a constructor, and its instance variables are self.z equals 20. Alright, and then it has a method, let's say method child mc. Alright, so self, and inside this we are printing print self.z. Alright, so how do we create an object? You guys remember this, right? So let's suppose I'm creating an object of parent class. So let's suppose we name it p1. So p1 parent, and we don't need to send any parameter, right? Since we are not taking any parameter here, it's okay if we don't put any parameter here. But if you wanted to, you can actually. So let's suppose x comma y, and you are sending, so remove these with x and y, and we are sending 10 comma 15 here, right? No issues here, right? Then what we can do is we can p1 dot mp, right? So if we run this, we should have 10 and 15 printed, and we do, right? So this part is nothing new to us. So what would be new to us is that if we try to create an object of the child class, so let's suppose c1 equals to, we're creating this child. Alright, then let's suppose nothing else. Then we wanted to print c1 dot mc. Alright, so c1 is an object of this class, and after that we just, what we did c1.mc, so we just call the instance method of the class child. Alright, let's run this. See, no issues here, but there is a problem here. The problem is that yes, we told the code that yes, child is a child of parent class, alright, but we didn't establish or inherit any attributes from the parent. In order to do so, we need to write a certain line of code which somewhat looks like this, and that is super, then parenthesis, then a full stop, then underscore underscore init underscore underscore, let's suppose self dot z plus 5 comma self dot z minus 5. So these values are simply random. What isn't random is this entire line, which basically tells the code yes, parent is the parent class of this child class. So it gets a bit confused if I name it parent and child, right? So let's just get rid of this parent and write it x, and let's get rid of this child and write it y. So this parent becomes x, and this becomes x, this becomes y. Now it should be more convenient. Okay, all right, so we're saying that yes, class x is the parent class of class y, but through this line, this particular line, we are actually establishing the inheritance, which means execute the init function or init method of the superclass. So the parent class is also called the superclass. So what is the superclass of class y? So the superclass of class y is class x. All right, so through this line we are saying that execute the init method of which class? The superclass of this particular class, which turns out to be this. All right, so what happens is that every time we create an object of class Y, we come here, and before executing anything else, we execute the constructor of its parent class, which is these 3 lines. All right. So that's how we are establishing the inheritance. Now, what you can do is you can actually do this. C1 dot C, sorry, class Y does not possess any self.x, does it? Does it? Is there any self.x variable declared here? Only self.z, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. But what if we did this? What if we try to print? Sorry. What if we try to print c1.x? Would it cause an error? It should cause an error, right? Because we don't have any variable self.x. So
Yes,
let's
sir, আমরা তো ডিক্লেয়ার করে নিল এই জন্য।
exactly.
স্যার বাট এখানে তো সেলফ ডট জেড টার ভ্যালু আগে ছিল না, সো এটা কিভাবে পাঠাবে? কজ
হ্যাঁ
আগে তো সুপার ডট ইনিটটা এক্সিকিউট হইতেছে, সো
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, আমি সরাই দিচ্ছি, রাইট, ওকে। সো এখন টেকনিক্যালি এটা কাজ করে, দিস শুড টেকনিক্যালি ওয়ার্ক, রাইট? না?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Okay, let's run it.
ইয়েপ।
And now it works. So the thing is, through this particular line, we just inherited all the instance variables and all the instance method of class X inside class Y. All right. So let's just have a real life example. For example, class X had a baby, which is class Y. And now this baby had one particular trait that is unique to itself. All right. Let's suppose Y is a very good talker, right? A very good public speaker, which was absent in its parents. So the baby's parents did not have the quality of public speaking, but what they had is, let's suppose they had a very good intuition and they had very good sleeping schedule. All right. So through this line, the baby actually acquires these traits as well. So even though it itself is a very good public speaker, now after line number 13, it is also a very good with intuition, and it also has a very good sleeping schedule. All right. So it basically inherits all the traits of its parents. Understood? That is
বাট
why
স্যার এখানে তো আবার মানে ওয়াই এর কোনো কিছু দিয়ে আমরা প্যারেন্টস এরটা সেট করতেছি।
now we're not changing the parent. We're basically copying all the variables from parent to our class. I'm going to show you a tracing for this. All right.
নট দ্য ভ্যালিউ।
Yeah, not the value. We're basically, yes, not the values of the parent. We are sending the values here, right? We are sending the values here. So self.z was 20. We basically sent 25 and 15. So 25 and 15 were inserted into self.x, self.y, which also became our own variables. That is why when we try to print c1.x, which means an object of child class y and its instance variable x, which we didn't have, but we inherited it from our superclass. All right. So you can also do this now. C1 dot, you can actually call the method of the parent class through the object of the child class. So initially what we did was we did p1.mp. We called the mp method from the parent class's object, right? But from now onwards, we can actually do this as well. We can use the child class and call the methods of its parent class. See, 25 and 15. All right. So we basically inherited all the instance variables and we inherited the instance method as well. All right. So now if we try to look at the tracing here, let's quickly open an Excel. So I think Excel is the best suited software for this. Let's have it here and let's have the code here. All right, side by side. So we start from the first line of the driver code, right? So this is the driver code, DC driver code. So what we did is we created an instance, right? So every time we create an instance, what do? We create a table, right? Every time we do this, we create a table. So let's suppose we have this table. Okay, how do I have a border? All right, like this, all borders. All right, so this is okay. So how do I merge this? Where is the merge option? Right here, merge. So this is basically P1. This is the P1 object table. So every time we write this, we also need to write a location for this. So let's suppose this is Bonani. All right, great. Now inside this, we're gonna have the init method. So underscore init, merge. So merge in center. Right, underscore init. All right, so inside init we have self.x, and what did we send here? 10. So 10 was inserted into x and x was inserted into self.x, so we can write the value of self.x is 10. Similarly, self.y, what was self.y? 15, right? So 15 here. Great. So line number 18 is executed. So if we try to run line number 19, p1.mp, basically this method would be executed and we're printing self.x, self.y. So the output, if we wrote the outputs here, output, so the output would be 10 space 15, right? This would be our first output. Understood? All right, we just executed these two lines. After that, the fun begins. C1 equals to y, right? So we're basically creating an object of the child class. So what do we do every time we create an object of a class? Do you remember this? I just told you this. All right, what we do is we basically create a table. So let's suppose we have an identical table here. All right. Now let's just get rid of all the values. We basically merge this.
Sir, can you please make the font a little bigger?
Yeah, sure. Okay, better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is C1, and every time we create a object, we have to assign a location. So let's suppose this is Chittagong, CTG, Chittagong, all right? Okay, so the first job is to execute the constructor, right? For line number 20, we created a table, we assigned a location, very good. Then we are going to execute the constructor. So let's suppose we have init here. All right, very good. So inside init we have self.z. And the value of self.z is 20. All right, great. Now the thing is we can get rid of this one. All right, very well. No issues whatsoever. Let's align all of this. All right, looks better. Now for this particular line, something interesting will happen. What will happen is that we now have to execute the constructor of its parent class. So whenever we're whenever we are executing a method and inside that method we are declaring new variables, what do? We extend the table. Remember, we extend the table. So we are basically extending this table. So let's extend this table. Let's merge these two together. Merge this and merge all of this. We just extended the table, and this is also init. So how do we distinguish these two inits? So basically we had two init functions, right? The init function, init method of child class y, then the init method of parent class x, right? So two init methods. Inside the parent classes one, we have self.x and then we have self.y, right? So how do you distinguish this with this from this? How do you do it? So remember we wrote this super.init, right? So we basically put this here, super dot underscore underscore init. This is how we distinguish this. So from the parent class we just inherited two new variables, which are self.x and self.y. And what are the values of this? We just send those. So self.z plus 5, so we basically sent 25, and 25 was assigned into self.x, and then we sent self.z minus 5, so 15 was assigned to self.y, so 15. Now take a look at this. So you see the child has an identical copy of the parent's variables, right? Also its own unique variables, which are not accessible to the parent. The parent doesn't have this unique feature. The child may or may not have unique features, but it will also have a copy of what the parent possesses. Understood? So this is how the tracing of inheritance looks like.
So, স্যার আমরা যে self.x self.y এর ভ্যালু চেঞ্জ করলাম সুপার ইনিট দিয়ে, তো এটা কি প্যারেন্টস এ চেঞ্জ হবে না
না
মানটা?
না 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 এটাই তো বললাম, you have a copy of your own, so you can only change your copy, not your parents copy, right? So let's suppose you have your father's eyes, and one day you had an accident and one of your eyes got ripped off. All right, so did your father's eye also get ripped off? Your one did,
No,
right?
sir. Sir, then like if you write the line print c1 dot x, then what will be the output?
Okay, so if we try to execute this one, c1.x, so go to the c1 table. Which one
Sorry,
is
sorry,
it?
not c1. Sorry, not c1. p1 actually. p1 dot x.
Very well, no problem. So let's suppose we
Print
change. Okay, sure. Print
p1 dot x.
p1.x. All right. See, it's still 10. It
Okay.
was still 10. All right. Even
Yes,
if you
sir.
try to change it, let's suppose you change it to p1.x equals to, let's suppose you change it to 50. You'll see it will have no effect on the child. All right, 50. Now if you try to print c1.x, if you try to print c1.x, you'll see that c1.x, which is 25, remains the same. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anyone, any confusion so far? Any confusion whatsoever? বেশি কঠিন হয়ে যাচ্ছে স্যার?
No,
So
sir.
will the parent class have access to the child class?
No, the parent class won't, but the child will. Right? So if,
Sir, it is the same way like the genetics.
হ্যাঁ, বেসিক্যালি যেটা হয় যে our parents basically write all of their assets to our names, right? They just gave it away to us. But let's suppose you worked hard and you got an asset for yourself. So it is very rare that you also give it back to your parent, right? You have this asset and this is on your name. All right. So basically, this is based on real life stories. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. So any confusion how you can create the tracing tables of this? Now, if I try to change any variable of any variable of C1, let's suppose I try to change this one. This will not affect this one. All right. These are two independent ones right now. All right. The child just happens to have a copy of all the variables of the parent, and that's it. These variables, this cell.x and this cell.x, are no longer related in any way. So if you change this, no change will happen here. If you change this, no change will happen here. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you did understand it, now let me give you a task and let's see if you can complete this. All right.
Sir,
Hmm.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Uh, for example, uh, you have Ceph.x
Hmm.
maybe and Ceph.y, I mean Ceph.w in this child class. So how will you manage to make like the parental inheritance of a
Okay,
student?
so if you have a self.w in your child class, this is a unique attribute to the child, right?
Yes,
Of your child. The parent has nothing to do with it. It's a skill you acquired on your own along the journey. But what happens is that here self.x is inherited from the parent. So self.x is a copy that we got from our parent. All right. So it's a one-way connection. All the things that the parents has, which are shareable, we can have a copy of these. But the things that we acquire, like this cell.y, this is our own thing, right? So the parent has no memory or no knowledge of this cell.y that we have. Understood? So
yes,
if we try to do this, let's suppose cell.z, if we try to print p1.z, this will cause an error, sir. All right, because the parent cannot access any of the unique attributes of the child, but the child can actually access all the attributes of the parents, all the public and protected attributes. We'll get to it in a bit, probably 1 week later when we cover encapsulation, what the public, protected, and private means. All right, so for now, let's just say the parent cannot access the things of the child, but the child can access the things of the parents. Understood?
yeah, I understand. But sir,
Hmm.
I'm asking if you have like multiple uh, local variables in constructor, you have maybe in this I mean child class, maybe you have self.z and self.w.
Okay, inside the
That's in
parent class or the child class?
child class. Maybe you have multiple local variables
All
like
right, no
w
worries.
and w and
Cell.w. All right, let's suppose this is y plus 10. All right.
okay.
Huh?
So
No.
how you will do the same procedure as you did for the
Yeah,
first.
yeah. So basically you insert another column here. All right. Let's suppose you basically extend this one. All right. And let's merge this. Inside the init, you now also have cell.w. This is your own constructor. And from the parents constructor, you got these. All right. So you have 10 here. But from the parent, you got the cell.x and cell.y. Okay.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how many variables you have. These will all go under the underscore init subheader. And the things that you got from your parents will go under the super.init subheader. Understood?
Yes.
All right. Anyone else with the same question and didn't understand this? All right. I'm going to assume everyone understood. All right. Great. So cell.x, there is no cell.y here. So let's get rid of this. Cell.y, cell.w, which the theory just said. Okay. So we send cell dot, let's suppose we send cell.y plus cell.w here. All right. Now we print cell.y, comma, cell.w. All right. No need for all of this. No need for this. Now let's do something interesting. let's do this. Super dot mp. Great, this will be fun. Let's get rid of this. All right. So okay, there's an error. All right, only one of these can be sent here. Okay, another error. Okay, there has to be something here. So let's suppose we send 5. Great. All right, good. All right, now,
So we're going to do it.
yeah, try to do
Okay,
this. Try to create a trace table for this and try to generate the outputs. So this is the inspiration that you can take idea from. All right, so create a trace table like this one for this and find all of the outputs. Okay, 5 minutes. Just a tip, every time you try to solve, for example, try to solve any of the tracing problems, you can actually use Microsoft Excel worksheet. This will become extremely handy and keeps your tracing table way cleaner. Let me know when you finish. Anyone?
yes, sir.
Okay, what are the outputs?
Sir, just a minute.
Should be 5
Okay,
and
sir,
15.
5, 15, and 20.
5, 15, and then 20.
20.
Like this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, theory, does it match?
Yeah, it matches.
Okay, anyone else with a different answer? Okay, let's run it. 5, 15, and 20. Very good. Well done. Okay, now the question is, did anyone not understand how to create the trace table for this? Is anyone struggling with this? If yes, then I'll show it. Anyone?
স্যার আমার একটু সমস্যা হচ্ছে
Okay, sure, no problem. Okay, একদম scratch থেকে করি. Let's do it from scratch. Let's suppose we have nothing. All right, there is nothing. So what is the first line of this code? তুমি একটু কথা বলো স্যার, okay? Need to
হ্যাঁ স্যার
communicate. All right. So first line of the code কি এটা? Line number 19. And for this we write P1, right? P1, and then we assign a location for this. So let's suppose this is Bonani. Okay, so every time we create an object, we have to create a table, right? A table. So for P1 we have a table. So every time we create an object, we have to basically go through its constructors, right? So constructor self.x. All right, so we have underscore init, right? we had this.
আচ্ছা স্যার, আমরা খাতায় যেভাবে করতাম এটা কি জাস্ট এক্সেল শিটে করতেছি বা
হ্যাঁ
কিছু?
হ্যাঁ একই তো, দেখ কোনো চেঞ্জ নেই তো, তাই না? একটা টেবিল বানাও না, সো এই টেবিলটাই।
আচ্ছা, দেন আমি আবার যখন আমি C1 নিচ্ছি তখন C1 এর জন্য আরেকটা বানাচ্ছি বা এরকম কিছু না?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, যখন আমি পরের
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
অলরাইট, সো cell.x আছে, cell.x, what was the value of cell.x? The value of cell.x was 10.
10.
Right, alright, good, no problem. So line number 19 is executed. Alright, line number 9 has been executed. Now we're going to execute line number 20. So this is C1, and the class is Y, this particular class. So every time we create an instance, what do we do?
Create a new table.
Good, very good. We create a new table. So let's name it C1 and we assign a location for it. Let's suppose this is Gulshan. All right, this is Gulshan. So for its init, we may or may not have some variables, and we do actually. So we're sending 5. So self.y, the value of self.y is 5. Good. We also have another variable, self.w, and the value of self.w
Will be 15.
is
Right.
15. Right, good. All right, let's now make this cleaner. Let's merge these two because both of these fall into the underscore init, right? All right, this looks way cleaner. All right, let's center everything. Let's center all of this. Oh, sorry. Oh, I need to merge these as well. All right. Now everything looks right. Good. Okay. Now the thing is, after these two lines, we are executing this line as well, which indicates we have to go through the constructor of the parent class. Okay. So in parent class কি দেখলাম? ওর একটা init আছে, and inside that init we have another variable. Now to distinguish these two, we write super dot underscore init. Okay, we're running out of time, so if this class closes, I'm gonna post another link on Slack. All right, if we cannot finish, then we're gonna get in that particular link. Okay, good. Now let's make it cleaner again. Let's merge this. Let's merge this. Sorry, let's merge all of this. Okay, good. Now inside super.init we have cell.x. Cell.x, and under cell.x we have the value we just sent, which was cell.y plus cell.w. So cell.y was 5, cell.w was 15, so we sent 20. 20 was sent into x, and cell.x becomes 20. Okay, all right. So after this line we go back to the line where the parent class's constructor was called from, which was this line. So after this line, the constructor ends, and basically line number 20 has been executed. All right. Okay, now line number 21, c1.mc. So we go to execute these 3 lines. All right, print cell.y cell.x. For which table are we executing this? The
C1.
Right, C1.
Yeah, Gulshan.
Right. So what is the value of cell.y? 5, right? So output 5, and then comma cell.w, so there is a space, cell.w is 15, 5, 15. Great. Now we're executing super.mp, which means the mp method of the superclass. So we go to the superclass and we execute this method. So superclass. Now the question is, do we fetch cell.x from this table, or do we fetch cell.x from this table?
Sir, বনানী থেকে নেওয়ার কথা না?
Nah, this is the trick. So basically আমি আসছি C1 object, right? So আমি যখন C1 object আসি, all the things that will be fetched must be fetched from C1 table.
Oh, আচ্ছা. Okay.
All right, so that's why when we are printing cell.x, Even though it seems like we are executing from this table, we are actually executing from this particular table. We're fetching from this table, and the value of cell.x in this table is 20, so 20 is printed.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is
Okay. Any questions so far? All right, very good. Now, if you ask me, sir, is there no way to access any of the parent variables or change any of the parents variables from the child class? There is actually a way, and the way is through object. All right, let's suppose in this method we have a variable. Let's suppose we write it a, and whenever we are calling MC, we are sending the p1 object. All right, now this is somewhat interesting. So we have a new method MC, so MCA, right? So we have to have another column here. We have to extend the table. So here I'm writing MC, and MC has a local variable which is A, and the question is what is inside A right now, right? That is the question.
So the location of P1 object.
Right, so the location of P1 was Bonani. So inside A I have now Bonani. All right, now if I wrote something like this, cell dot twice cell dot w and then a dot x. All right,
Then it will print 10.
now can you tell me what would be the outputs?
Sir, 5, 15, and sir, 10.
Okay, so for cell dot y it's easy, it's this 5. Then cell dot w, it's also easy, it's the
15.
15, right? Now a dot x, what is the value of a? The value of a is Bonani, so we must go to the Bonani table, and from the Bonani table we are fetching the x, which is 10. So
10.
5 space 15 space 10. All right, then we
Yes.
execute line number 16, super.mp, the cell.x of this, so again 10. No, again not 10, it will be 20.
No, sir, it will be
Yes.
20.
Great.
Yes.
Understood?
Yes.
So there is actually a way, and that is through object. If you manage to send an object, then using that object you can actually access the actual values of the parent. You can also manipulate the values of the parent. How so? So basically we can get rid of this. We no longer need this. You can do this, a dot x plus equals to 5. All right, then print a dot x. Now you can
It will be 15.
right, this value will become from 10 to 15, right? And then if you print a dot x, the output will be none of this, or sorry, not 20, but instead it will be 15. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have trouble understanding, just take a couple of minutes, just look at the code and the tracing, right? Try to understand the relationship between these two. Okay, take a couple of minutes and just look at the code.
Sir, I understand why we are not printing this f.x at first, but why is it not why it is not possible to print that f.x in that method mp in the parent class?
Okay, so cell.x we are printing here. Where do you want to print the cell.x? From the child class?
No, you can print it independently,
Okay, let's suppose we copy this. Now tell me to paste it somewhere. Where do you think we cannot do this? All right.
I think you can left it there because I was asking the execution of this Python because uh, I thought we go by line by line. So I thought we first execute this print statement of self.x.
self.x. Okay, which is this, right? All right,
Yes.
give me a second. Okay, how do I extend the call? All right. Now, the thing is, you just need the variable to be declared, all right? So printing is not actually having any value here. We just declared it inside the init method, all right? If we did not declare it there, then it would have been an issue, all right? So printing, it doesn't really put any value here. So whenever we are executing a.x, let's suppose we got rid of this one, all right? Now tell me, will it cause an error if we did not have a table for this? Let's suppose we got rid of this table. All right, let's suppose this line does not exist. Is it possible to create an object of a child class without creating an object of the parent class? Is it possible?
It's not possible.
All right, let's run it. Voila, it works. All right, so it isn't necessary for the parent class to be executed first. All right, so what happens is we are creating an object of the y. So you'll see that for this, the parent class does not contain any predefined values. We just copy the variables and then we put our preferred values in those variables. So let's go through this. So we go through the constructor. Self.y is here. We sent 5 is here, good. Self.w, 15 is here, very good, no problem. Now we are actually executing the constructor of the parent class. So we got rid of the table, but still we have all the things that we need inside our own table, all right, which we just inherited from our parent. So we basically went through the constructor of the parent, and from that we acquired self.x. And what is the value of x? Whatever we sent here, and we sent cell.y plus cell.x, which is 20. So 20 gets inserted into cell.x. All right.
Sir,
Hmm.
shouldn't we have got we should have gotten error because we don't have a P1 object in the
Yes,
tracking
sir.
code.
Oh, right.
But why is it working?
Forget this line. I was talking about this particular line. All right.
But
Yes,
why
we
was
should.
it working?
Oh, this is working because we already executed this code. All right. So Colab already has already has a variable p1 stored inside its cache. All right. So even though we ran it again, it just used the value that it acquired a moments ago. So if you want to test it again, what you need to do is just restart the runtime. Right? You restart the runtime, you run it again, you'll see that it will give an error. Okay, I think we have less than a minute. All right, let's execute this. See, there's an error. All right, so every time you see discrepancies like this, just restart the runtime, then run the code again. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I was pointing towards. Now let's get rid of this line. What did we learn from this? What are the things that we noted? We learned how actually the child acquires all the attributes of the parent, and from attributes we know that attributes can be the instance variables and the instance methods. All right, so we learned how we can actually acquire all the attributes of the parent. Then we learned how we can actually access the actual values of the parent and modify those, and that was through an object. If we send an object of the parent along with the inside the parameter, then we can use that parameter to access the table of the parent class. All right, that's what we learned. So these are the two key points that we learned today. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is basically the basic of the inheritance. Now let me ask you a trivia question. Let's suppose parent can have multiple children, right? Can a children have multiple parents? And multiple parents, I mean, can it have more than two? Sounds like a retarded question, but it will make sense.
No, sir.
No, in reality, it's not possible, but in Python, it is possible. All right, if you want to see it, let's see it. Class Y, class Z. Let's suppose it's class Z. All right, and inside class Z, we have nothing. And how do we extend both classes? We do this, and then let's run it. Works. Okay, now class Y basically extends from both class X and class Z. Okay, so a child can actually have a lot of parents, but this actually causes some significant issues. That's why we do not encourage this. One of these issues is the popular diamond problem. So look it up and get back to me in the next class what the diamond problem means. I'm writing it down for you. The diamond problem, the diamond dilemma, diamond problem of inheritance. So try to look it up. All right, so I will be posting homework for this, for inheritance itself. There will be tracing problems and some coding problems. All right, so try to solve those, and our next class will be held the day after tomorrow, hopefully Tuesday. All right, same time. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you guys take care. Okay, so today's class
Thank you,
is
sir.
concluded.
So what about paintings?